School of Rock is now in session in Iowa, and we're ready to help make musicians. In our patented performance-based program, students learn music in one-on-one lessons, then have band practice in a fun, safe learning environment, all leading up to their big show. Guitar, bass, piano, drums, and vocals, our local professionals teach the skills you need to be a rock star. Come check us out and get a free lesson with no strings attached. Locations in West Des Moines and Marion. Visit schoolofrock.com to learn more and start your musical journey today.
The morning news on YourIowa.com is brought to you by the Commission on U.S. Territories, striving for equal representation around the globe, and by Keep Iowa First, committed to keeping the Iowa caucuses the first in the nation contest in selecting the presidency of the United States. And now, here's your host, Brent Roske.
Hello, everybody. It is Friday. Congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. You made it through another week. It's going to be up into the mid-40s today here in central Iowa. Sunshine. I can actually see the sun rising out the window. A beautiful day out there. What's up on the screen right now? This is a sign of the times, isn't it? This is video. There's not a lot of movement, so you can't tell it's video, but there is. That is the virtual swearing in yesterday of former Iowa Governor Tom Vilsack as the next Secretary of Agriculture. So, and of course, there's Vice President Harris. Tom Vilsack is now the 32nd Secretary of Agriculture. He was the 30th Secretary of Agriculture under the Obama administration and the 40th Governor of Iowa from 1999 to 2007. Did you remember that Mr. Vilsack actually ran for president back in 2006 for a few months before dropping out in the end of February? And here's something I didn't know. In 2016, the Washington Post reported that Mr. Vilsack was actually one of two people shortlisted to be Secretary Clinton's vice presidential nominee when she was running for president. And of course, Virginia Senator Tim Kaine was ultimately selected. So interesting little tidbit there. I did not know that he was almost the vice president. There they go, waving goodbye. Yeah, virtual swearing in. So Mr. Vilsack was at his house there, and the vice president was, well, it looks like she was in a television studio somewhere. Let's take a look. Some news here. There's my fancy theater graphic. Movies. You know, we have so many movies coming at us. We all have, a 300-inch television at our home with surround sound. And so a lot of folks might not necessarily be going to the movies. Obviously, coronavirus is, some people are thinking about it as well, too. But listen to this AP headline. It's a smash hit. Chinese return big time to movie theaters. I love that. Hollywood Smash is the name of our little mini entertainment show in a show here on Wednesdays. Lisa Marks co-host that's with me. But the news today is all about China. China is breaking the records for most money brought in. China has now overtaken the U.S. as the world's biggest market for movie ticket sales. I did not know that. Now, also because American box offices, a lot of them are closed due to coronavirus, so that is part of that. But so far, Chinese box office has brought in how much? Let's take a guess. How much do you think Chinese box office this year has brought in? 1.7 billion with a B. And they're saying that homegrown productions are doing better than the imports. And I checked into Japan and China are different countries, but I checked into a Japanese hotel once, and I said, "Oh, I forgot my toothpaste," and they handed me a little. This is true. They handed me a little tube. It was very tiny. It was this big, and on the side it said "Super Happy White." So the language barrier is interesting. So let's talk about some of these titles. China, the biggest hit right now in China is a Chinese film called Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom is a time-traveling comedy written and directed by Xi Ling, which has made 4 billion yuan. So 11 billion yuan is 1.7 billion. So I guess we'll work that math out. Also a big hit right now, Detective Chinatown 3 has made 4 billion yuan. And these quotes, I love these quotes. These quotes sound a bit like North Korea, but here's some quotes. The quote is the deputy general manager of the entertainment industry in China, the EN Data, said, China has great resiliency and powerful foundation of China's film industry. So good job, China. Here locally, let's talk about local news. I will put up the Capitol. Right now, the Iowa legislature is looking at a bill that would do a couple things. It would reduce early voting days from 29 to 20. That's right, taking almost a third of the early voting days off. It would close polls at 8 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. So if you work late at night, tough. It would require absentee ballots to arrive by the time the polls close, as opposed to being postmarked the day before the election. It would shorten the deadlines for absentee ballot requests and voter registration to 15 days before election day. And currently it's 10. And this is the one that it's out of hand. It would create felony charges for county auditors who don't follow the election guidance from the Iowa Secretary of State. You would be a felon if you say accepted a ballot after the date. If you let people turn it in, that would now be a felony. It is now on Kim Reynolds' desk, the Governor Kim Reynolds, to see if she will sign it into law. And we will see what happens with that. Last night, President Biden, we did airstrikes against Syria to Iranian-backed militants. It is President Biden's first military action. And the Senate parliamentarian, say that 5 times fast at 7:07 in the morning. The Senate parliamentarian, $15 minimum wage will not be a part of the $1.9 trillion COVID relief package. We only make billionaires in this country. We don't make people with a minimum wage that they can live on. That's what we do in this country. There's other news, but we're going to run a quick commercial, and then let's run through some of these guests, shall we, today. There she is, Gina Belafonte. Her and her father, Harry Belafonte, run sankofa.org. And Gina is going to be on the show in just a minute. I taped that interview with Gina just a couple days ago on Monday's show. State Senator Ross Wilburn, there he is with our Vice President Harris. Representative Wilburn will be on this program. He was just elected to be the next chair of the Iowa Democrat Party. He will be on Monday's show, which is the 1st of March. Then next Friday, I'm really excited about this. There's Peter Gabriel, and actually a Beninese from Benin, Africa, singer there with him. So he just re-recorded a version of his song Biko. Sebastian Robertson is the producer. Sebastian Robertson's father is Robbie Robertson of the band. Amazing. But Sebastian Robertson re-recorded this new version with folks. It's incredible. Musicians from all over the world. Musicians like Yo-Yo Ma and the Cape Town Singers, and just amazing. And he is going to be on next Friday. And then if you missed yesterday, there's a tweet that the United Nations High Commission on Refugees sent out about my interview with Besson Obenson. Miss Obenson is a real life superhero walking among us. She is the, station chief representative for Guatemala for the United Nations High Commission on Refugees. She was on this program yesterday live from Guatemala, which is incredible. Such a huge thanks to Chris Boyan and Andrea at UNHCR and the rest of the team that put that together. But here's one of the tweets they were kind enough to put out on that show as well. Just fantastic. After Gina today, we're going to be chatting with one of the folks from the Des Moines Home Builders Association on the big home building show, which is this weekend at the Iowa State Fairgrounds, Jacobson Building. We're going to run a quick ad, and then we'll be right back with Dan Knoop with the DSM Home Builders Association. We'll be right back.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the show, and let's bring him up. Well, there's Dan Knoop right there. How are you, Dan?
I'm great, Brent. How are you this morning?
Well, I'm doing great. I'm going to pull up a graphic here so folks know what we're talking about. The Home and Remodeling Show, February 26th to the 28th. It's this weekend at the fairgrounds. Dan, why don't you tell us, walk us through what we're going to see down there at the home show?
Well, anything related to home building or home remodeling. So it could be a vendor selling kitchens. It could be the actual contractors themselves, but they're the businesses and the actual operators or owners of those businesses that are there. So in most cases, you're not meeting with a traveling show salesperson that flew in from Seattle for the show. You're not going to see flagpoles and pots and pans, and there's nothing wrong with those things. The other trade shows are fantastic. It's just not the focus of ours. Ours is about people that want to build and want to remodel in the Des Moines metro area.
Tell folks about Des Moines Des Moines Home Builders Association. Who's involved and what kind of work do you folks do?
Well, we're a trade organization that started in 1944, and we really promote the building industry, everything that supports it. So you could be a banker, you could be a realtor, you could be a contractor itself, but we do a lot of networking and advocacy. So if you think about home building as a whole, most contractors are small business owners. They work from their kitchen or their front seat of their truck, and they don't have a lot of pull when they reach out to Senator Ernst or their local legislators. So we try to bundle them together, and we advocate on their behalf to talk about the industry and housing affordability. But then we also try to connect them together in networking situations. Like last night, we have a pre-show party that's for members. We had about 150 members at the Home and Remodeling Show last night, doing a little in-person networking, which we haven't done in about a year. So those are our two primary activities that we take part of.
You know, what a vivid illustration you just said. A lot of times they're doing their work from the front seat of the truck. And boy, isn't that right? I was just talking to some small business owners here in the neighborhood last night, and it is so challenging to have a voice. So yeah, getting folks together and creating the megaphone of the Home Builders Association. Good for you. And home building and home ownership to me is very important. I've been fortunate enough to be a homeowner for quite a while now, starting in Los Angeles. But I talk to folks, younger folks don't necessarily think about home building, home buying as in their future right now. And I think it's one of the biggest steps, in my opinion, to really achieve the American dream, or at least be a part of it. Why don't you talk about what does it mean to someone to actually lay out plans and get a home, get a foundation broken on a new home?
A lot of us take for granted the American dream because we're not first or second generation Americans. We've lived here. We've always had housing. We've always had a roof over our head. So I think it kind of becomes almost an expectation, and that's unfortunate because it used to be a bigger deal than it is. And now almost this new generation has expectations that they're going to have granite and they're going to have stainless steel instead of having this home and something that they build. But home ownership is vital. It's not only vital to us as a family unit, it's vital to our national economy. If you ever think about why do they talk about housing starts? Why do they talk about days on the market? How many houses are on the market? Because our industry is a national leading indicator for how well our economy is doing or where we're heading. Every recession that our country's ever had has been led out of by the home building industry. We're almost 18% of our national GDP, and people don't really think about that. They talk about farming and how big farming is in Iowa, but the reality is that the construction industry is almost as large as the farming economy. or the farming industry to our economy. So there's two pieces there that are very important that a lot of people don't talk about. But next time you hear that, oh, January housing starts, now you'll know why it's so important, because as housing goes, so goes our national economy.
And for younger folks watching this, personal wealth, so much of that starts with what the equity in your house, being able to borrow off the equity of your house and really just have a foundation for life. And you won't have, someone else owning your apartment saying, oh, we're going to jack up the rent or things like that. You get on a good fixed year mortgage, you can budget to it, you can plan your life to it. So I always, whenever I have an opportunity, I always advocate for home ownership, because folks, they're not necessarily thinking about that. And I'll ding public education and I'll say they're not teaching the basics enough. Say, do your taxes and buy a house.
Absolutely. I actually just read an article this week that talked about home ownership is still the number one driver of personal wealth in America. And you're right that that's not being taught in school system. And I guess I understand it to an extent. They don't teach you how to write a check or how to balance your checkbook either. So there are a lot of things that we could go down that tangent. That's a whole separate conversation. But it is the number one driver for personal wealth in the country.
Interesting. So the home show, I'm going to put the graphic up here again. It is this weekend, February 26th to 28th, the Jacobson Building. They're at the Iowa State Fairgrounds, and I just love shows like this. I actually bought a house that was built in 1870 over by the Capitol. I didn't rebuild it. I did a lot of cosmetic. I'm just not as good as you folks, but I did what I could, and I got it up to be a rental, and then I lived in it for a couple of years. So I love this, going to home shows like this. So I'm excited. I'm going to swing down there myself, and so. Dan, if folks want to learn more, what's the website, or what should they do?
The website is DM Home and Remodeling Show, all spelled out. I know it's a little big and cumbersome, but if you do a search engine under DSMHBA, you'll find it there. But come to the fairgrounds. It's today from noon to 5. It's tomorrow from 9 to 6, and it's Sunday from 11 to 4. All that information's online. We also have seminars and demonstrations. Some of them are going to be taped and shown live downtown. Some of them we recorded last week, and some of them are going to happen live in a showroom. So that way we're trying to socially distance. We're trying to keep we try to build an environment where everyone feels safe and comfortable coming. So we've got social distancing between the booths. We're asking everyone to wear masks. We're not going to be heavy police out there, but we're going to ask them to put a mask on and sanitize. So it should be an environment where everybody can come and enjoy themselves and find out about the home building and remodeling industry.
I love it. Dan Knoop is with the Des Moines Home Builders Association. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, and we look forward to seeing you.
Fantastic. Folks, we're going to take a quick break, then be right back with Gina Belafonte with Sankofa.org. We'll be right back.
School of Rock is now in session in Iowa, and we're ready to help make musicians. In our patented performance-based program, students learn music in one-on-one lessons, then have band practice in a fun, safe learning environment, all leading up to their big show. Guitar, bass, piano, drums, and vocals, our local professionals teach the skills you need to be a rock star. Come check us out and get a free lesson with no strings attached. Locations in West Des Moines and Marion. Visit schoolofrock.com to learn more and start your musical journey today.
It is Gina Belafonte with Sankofa.org. She's here with us now. Gina, thanks so much for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Brent. Appreciate it.
So where are you right now?
I am in southern sunny California.
Yeah, you win. It's I'm looking at 12 inches of snow out the window, but that's beside the point.
It's beautiful.
It is. It has its own sense of beauty. It sure does. So I wanted to let folks know not only Sankofa.org, but we're going to go into in depth about some other things as well. So you run Sankofa.org with your father. He just passed the torch to you officially. But one of the slogans I saw on the website is "Artists are the gatekeepers of truth," and I was wondering if you could expand on that.
Absolutely. Well, one of my father's mentors was Paul Robeson, and we have not been able to actually
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.